Hey y'all, the coaches poll's out. We finally get to see a poll, and I like the coaches poll a lot better than the AP poll. AP's a bunch of nerds that don't know anything about football. They sat around and they played checkers, and where the coaches poll is coaches. They know the game of football. So I like this poll a lot better than the AP. But anyway, it's got 9 SEC teams in it. That's wild. 9. Now, for the most part, I agree with where they have, or if I do disagree, it's not a lot. But I want to go through here and kind of tell you where each SEC team is and kind of break it down. So first off, Texas at number 1. I think that's deserving. And Texas is loaded. Now, they lose a lot of players from last year, but defensively, they're going to be just as good as they were last year. They are losing those 2 tackles, which will hurt, but they've got a better backfield coming back. They still loaded at wide receiver, and they've got Arch Manning, who is predicted to be even better than Quinn Ewers. He has immense ability. We're going to see how he does, and we're not going to wait long because in about a month, he's going to be going to Columbus, Ohio, and playing in a big football game. So if Arch Manning lives up to the hype, if he is an elite quarterback, then absolutely I think Texas is the number 1 team in the country. They got the next SEC team that I want to talk about is Georgia. They're at 4. Yeah, I think that's fair. I would put Georgia anywhere between 4 to 6. I think Georgia's very vulnerable this year. It's going to be a loaded defense as usual. The offense is going to have to play better this year. They're going to have to be able to run the ball better. I do think they run the ball better this year. I do think this team rallies around Gunnar Stockton better than they did last year's quarterback, Beck. So, anyway, I like Georgia this year. We'll see how they do in that 3rd game of the year in Knoxville. That's going to kind of tell the tale on how Georgia's going to do. Then not long after that, they've got to play Alabama at home. That's kind of been a bugaboo for them. So if Georgia can get through that first half of the year pretty unscathed, they're going to be set. But they got some tough games in that first half of the season. So I agree with Georgia. Alabama at 8. I probably would have Alabama maybe top 5. I would definitely have them above Clemson. I'm still not a believer in Clemson. Sorry. And I know Clemson is returning a lot of people, but I'd have Alabama probably 5 or 6, maybe even ahead of Oregon. Ty Simpson is going to be the quarterback this year for Alabama. We'll see how he does, but this defense is a top 5 defense, loaded offensively, one of the best offensive lines in the country. Jam Miller's coming back. I think he's going to have a monster year. Alabama has got a lot of revenge on its mind, and they got a really good defense to enact that revenge. So we'll see what happens. I like Alabama. I think 8's not way off the mark, but I'd put them a little bit higher. LSU, that's fair, 9. I'd put them anywhere between 9 to 11. LSU still, they're supposed to be better this year defensively, but will they be? The whole time Brian Kelly has been the coach at LSU, their defense has stunk. And they always lose the opening game of the year. And they have another tough game this year at Clemson. So they've got to get off to a better start because they have a tough schedule. They've got to go to Alabama. They got some really tough games. They got Ole Miss. So we'll see how LSU does. Oh, they got South Carolina too. So tough schedule for LSU. They are loaded, though. They have, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the SEC in Garrett Nussmeier. So LSU has the tools to make the college football playoffs. I've said that when I did their preseason prediction and preview. So I think 9 is fair for LSU. The next team is South Carolina. Now, I think South Carolina regresses a little bit. I would have had South Carolina anywhere between 15 and 20 personally, but I'm not really mad about 13. If Lenora Sailors can be what a lot of people think he can be, then potentially I think they are 13th. The only thing is I think defensively they're going to step back a little bit. They're losing Kennard. They're losing a lot of those linebackers. They are bringing back Dylan Stewart, who's just an absolute stud at defense. They're bringing back Nick Carter at receiver. They're losing Rocket Sanders at running back. So we'll see. If Lenora Sailors is significantly better than he was last year, then absolutely. They're definitely deserving it being at 13. And I do think Lenora Sailors is in that first 1, 2, or 3 quarterbacks in the league this year. So I'd have them a little bit back, but that's not too far off the mark. Ole Miss is another team. 15's probably fair. I'd have them in the 15 to 20 range. A lot of questions. They're losing a lot of people. Austin Simmons is going to be the quarterback this year, but they lose a lot on defense. It was the number 1 rush defense last year in the country. injury, and a lot of those guys are gone. They're in the NFL. And offensively, they lose a lot of those wide receivers. So, and they got a tough schedule. They got to go to Georgia, so that's going to be a tough game. And so we'll see what happens. They got some other really, really tough games. They got to play LSU. Just a tough schedule. We'll see what happens with Ole Miss, but it'll be a struggle to get to 9 wins this year for Ole Miss. I think the schedule's tough. New quarterback. A lot of the defense is not returning. So Lane Kiffin's got his work cut out for him this year. Florida at 17. Florida's schedule is just as tough as it was last year. Obviously, it's playing the same teams, but the same teams they played last year are loaded this year. They beat LSU and Ole Miss at home, but they got to go to them this year. They do get Texas at home. They got to play at Miami. Just a tough schedule. Now, Florida is a top 15 team, in my opinion, just to be honest with you. But with that schedule, I just don't know. If Florida can get to 9 wins, Billy Napier, in my opinion, should get Coach of the Year with that schedule. If they can win 9 games, I think, if DJ Lagway can stay healthy. But that's a big if. He's had a lot of injury issues there. But I like the offense. I like their defensive line. I like some pieces on defense. Obviously, I like their offense more than I do their defense. I love DJ Lagway. He's a top 3, top 5 QB in the SEC. So I like Florida. I think they're very deserving of being number 17. Tennessee at 18. Obviously, I'm a Tennessee fan. I think that's that's being a little nice. I would have had Tennessee probably 20 to 25, just to be honest with you. The QB concerns. It's just a brand new quarterback. If Nico would have came back, I'd have had him around 15. But I think 18 is very kind. I would have had him between 20 and 25 to at least after the Syracuse game to see how we play. So I'm very happy with 18, but I think that's a little high, just to be honest with you. And then A&M rounds out the SEC at 21. I think A&M that's a little low. A&M is loaded this year. They're bringing back their quarterback. They brought in some wide receiver additions. I think they're going to help the team immensely. I would have had A&M honestly in the top 15, but I think what voters or coaches are factoring in is A&M's always loaded, and they never kind of come through. They kind of falter and don't get the job done. But I think A&M is underrated for sure. I read something where A&M's overrated. I actually think they're underrated. If they can get better pass offense this year than they did last year, I think they could be very, very dangerous in 2025. But anyway, I just broke down the coaches poll here. That's kind of what I thought with all 9 SEC teams. It's going to be a great year. It's got a lot of parity this year in the SEC. We're going to have a great season. Every game of this year in the SEC, a team could potentially get beat. There's no team that's just head above shoulders better than everybody. Look at Vanderbilt last year, what they did with some teams, and I think it's going to be that same way this year. If you overlook a team, you may very well get beat. So I can't wait till the season begins. I love seeing this coaches poll and where they've got these teams, and we'll just see where the chips may fall. But guys, I'll talk to you all later.